Oh boy! Wow, that was fun. Yeah, so we're back. That was fun. Yeah, so it turns out I thought it was just a small, like a power flicker, like, everything turns off and 5 minutes later comes all back. So I was optimistic. And then I started checking my local community's Facebook group, and they're like, "Oh, the electricity is looks like it's down until 4:30, so like over an hour and a half after it went down." I'm like, "Oh no, that's so long. I feel so bad because it was going really well." So what's going to happen is we did 1 hour of streaming. I'm going to do another hour, and I'll try to finish this lesson. If you have to go to bed, don't worry about it, please. You can watch the stream. It'll be in two pieces, so you can watch the stream later after it's finished. But yeah, once a year or twice a year we get a major power outage in the area typically, and it just so happened to be today during my stream. Last time we got an outage, it was gone for like 12 hours. The power was out for like 12 hours, but that also was like last year. So anyway, so we're back. So let's finish this lesson today. How are you guys doing? I really apologize about that. I know I couldn't control it, but still, I'm sorry. I wanted this stream to be consistent. So I feel bad for those of you who stayed up especially late to watch it, and then it cuts out and you have to go to bed. And if you're staying awake still, I feel really bad. I'm sorry. So what were we talking about was how to do the plain form, because I was mentioning that when you're using the plain form with the verbs ida and anida, specifically only with the grammar form. So this isn't anytime you're using, I should mention this. This is not the go ending. If you're using ida or anida with the regular go ending, or the connector, the sentence connector, it doesn't become this. It just becomes igo or anigo, like usual. However, if you are using this with a grammar form, so that will be quoting, which we'll do a lesson on quoting in the future, or that could be this form, 생각하다, for thinking, then it will become 이라고 after a consonant, or just 라고 after a vowel. And 아니다, to not be, will just become 아니라고. So if you wanted to say, I think it is. So we haven't actually done these sentences. So I guess it cut off at a decent time that we hadn't done the example sentences yet. We had just started. So if you want to say, I think Billy is a Korean. Previously we had 빌리가 한국 사람인, right? 것 같아요. Also, I should mention this because you'll see this too. If you ever see 것 written as 것 같아요, it's the same thing. It's a more casual, I shouldn't say so much casual as informal. It's not very polite, but it's not rude. So you could use this with friends. But typically the form is 것, but you'll also see 거 and hear 거 a lot. 아닌 것 같아요. 아닌 것 같아요. Both are exactly the same, have exactly the same meaning. And if you misuse one or the other, you're not going to sound too polite or too rude. So just though this one's slightly less formal. And then 같아요. So this is what we did previously for saying I think Billy is a Korean. Well, now we have this new form which directly just means I think. These are my thoughts, right? Before we learned about 같다, 같아요, called 같다, we learned that actually literally means it seems. So it's a little more indirect. It's not necessarily saying your thoughts as much as it's saying, well, it seems that way to me. So indirectly, I think that, right? This form, however, is not. This form, 생각하다, literally means a thought, to think. So the regular word for a thought is 생각. 저는 좋은 생각이 있어요. I have a good thought. And that's the word that they use for saying idea. So if you want to say I have a good idea, you would say I have a good 생각. Or that's a bad idea. That's a bad 생각. Or I had a thought the other day. You would say 생각. So this is a regular literal word for my thinking. So it's more direct, a more direct way of saying this is exactly what I think. Thanks for powering through. Yeah, nice joke, Rachel. And once this live stream finishes, either way, I'm going to go down to the store and I'm going to buy a new eraser. Since I still I have lots of money for the eraser fund. Let's see, I got 2 donations specifically for the eraser fund, $15. And I also have a gift card that's like a coupon I got in the mail, like spend $10, get $10 free. So it's like a free $10 coupon kind of. So I'll probably use that and I'll get like a nice eraser. And then when I later get the truckload of these erasers that I ordered from eBay, I don't know what I'll do with them. Maybe I'll use them like once and then throw them away. It's like disposable erasers. Anyway, so now we have this form, which is directly saying you think something. So instead of saying 사람인, instead of using in, since it's not an adjective, we need the plain form. So the plain form of to be is 이다, like I said. But when it combines with this form, 고, 생각하다, it becomes 이라고 after a consonant or 라고 after a vowel. So in this case, 사람 ends in a consonant, so we're going to get 이라고. Make sure you can, yeah, it's still on the screen. And then 생각, and then conjugate it however you want to say. Do you want to say 생각합니다 and be extra formal? Or do you want to be really casual, 생각해 to your friend? Or just an acquaintance, 생각해요. And if you're ever not sure what form to use, I recommend the yo form, just 해요. You'll be safe. If you're too polite, it'll only be a little bit too polite to your friends, and friends will understand. They're like, oh, he's still learning Korean. At least he's not rude. But if you misuse the 반말, if you misuse casual, like you don't say the yo by mistake to someone who's older than you or someone you're not close with, they'll take it as rude. Even if you're learning Korean, it just sounds rude. So be careful about that. So 빌리가 한국 사람이라고 생각해요 directly means I think. So you can say 저는 if you want. Like I said before, it could be not. It could be optional. 빌리가 한국 사람이라고 생각해요. I think that Billy is 이라 is the 이다 to be is Korean. So this form structure-wise is the exact same as the 것 같다 form that we learned before. But the meaning, as I said, and I'll do another comparison of the two forms, the meaning is more direct. It's more of a direct thought. So this is exactly what I'm thinking. So also I want to point out again, notice that the structure is the same. So you have who does the thinking is marked with the topic marker, un or nun, and whatever it is that you're thinking about, if there is a subject in there, if someone is doing something inside of your thought, it's marked with i or ka. Did I say subject marker for here? Anyway, this is topic marker for whoever's thinking, and the subject marker is whatever's doing something in that thought or whatever you're talking about. So it's the same structure. So you don't have to relearn some special way to use it. You just have to know that the 것 같다 form is used with adjectives, direct adjective, and 생각하다 is used with the plain form of the verb plus 고. And as I mentioned before, my live stream outline where the live stream outline where I have all the information for today's live stream, which I'm going to upload as soon as this is finished. That also has examples of plain form in past tense, present tense, future tense, as well as examples of adjectives in past tense, present tense, future tense with sentences in those. I don't always give so many extra examples, but this time I did, just because I had time when I was writing the lesson. I spent all day yesterday preparing this. Can you use 했어요? This is not 했어요. 생각했어요? Like, are you trying to say thought? I'm not quite sure what your question is. If you're asking if you can use 생각했어요 at the end, in which case you can. 생각했어요. Yeah, you can conjugate 생각하다 however you'd like. So it can be I thought. Now you have past tense. 빌리가 한국 사람이라고 생각했어요. 생각했어요. I thought Billy was a Korean. You can say that too. However, and we'll talk about the differences. You can say 생각했어요 with this form. But called kata, that other form that we learned first, that one has some limitations, and we'll talk about that next. So before we go on though, because this is a very important form, let's see, when did I start? I'll just say I started 4:30. I'm trying to time myself. I know this lesson's going to go a little longer because of the break, so I had to like kind of reteach some stuff, but I still want to keep both parts about 2 hours if possible. Okay, so let's give you some examples. How would you say, I think I like, let's see, Ahimang doesn't like when I use BTS. So let's change that. Let's do TBS. I think I like TBS, right? You know, the TBS, the TV station, you know, I think they're the ones that have Conan O'Brien on. So I think I like TBS. How would you say, I think I like TBS with this form? And remember, to like is 좋아하다. So I'll just write that down. 좋아하다. So how would you say, I think I like TBS? Tunnel boring snakes. Tunnel boring snakes. That's pretty good. Not tunnel boring snakes, but tunnel snakes. Tunnel snakes rule. So how would you make this sentence? I think I like TBS with this form. Tan bang boys. 단방스. 저는 TBS를 좋아한다고 생각해요. Yep, there you go. Leonardo Paredes. Leonardo Paredes. Sorry if I butchered your name. It was completely on purpose though. But yeah, the one small correction for Leonardo is if you're saying TBS, in Korean pronunciation, they would say TBS because they wouldn't say S. So the ending sound S is actually a vowel. So you would use this object marker and not since the ending sound is a vowel. So you would, if you were to write it too, you would write it with this for the object marker. Because in Korean's head, they would read it as S. Or however they would write it, S, sorry, I wrote that kind of messed up, which has a vowel at the end, so you'd want to use this one. Just like a kind of nitpicking there. But let's see if what else are you guys writing? 전 TBS를 좋아한다고 생각해요. Nice. TBS를 좋아한다고 생각해요. 저는 TBS를 좋아한다고 생각해요. Nice. Is Ahimang even here? I don't think she's here. She's not here. I can make all the BTS examples I want. But he's like, I don't even like BTS. I mean, like, I'm not disliked. I'm just like, I'm not a fan of any K-pop, no discrimination. But it's really funny, I guess, to use them in examples anyway. Because I know a lot of you guys really like them. So, and I know that a lot of people came into Korean because of K-pop. Like, that's probably 90% of the people learning Korean are doing it because they first got interested in Korean through K-pop, whether that's BTS nowadays or Girls' Generation before or Psy, you know, Gangnam Style, whatever reason. And I think that's awesome. I think it's great that Korean music is what can bring people into Korean because, you know, for Japanese, what is it that brought people to learn Japanese? It would be, you know, anime shows, maybe Japanese food or different things like that. But Koreans got Korean music. Like that's their main pull. And it's just interesting to see like what types of things do people get into Korean with. So yeah, it's fun. I guess I should say that. It's fun. I like it. Okay, I have to give you big thanks because I saw one of your videos and they kept me going. Nice. I never heard a note of K-pop until I started learning Korean. Yeah, me too. When I was starting in 2005, I didn't know K-pop was a thing. I figured Korea had pop music, but I didn't know. That's not true. I knew like a couple Korean songs. There was like one Korean song that I knew, but it wasn't like a thing. So I liked Korean as a language because I came from Japanese and it was kind of like, it resonated with me and I liked that. But then later I found out about K-pop and then I'm like, man, not really my thing, but okay, great. But I really love Korean food, especially, and I like Korean people. I like interacting with my Korean friends. I think they're really nice people. I started learning Korean because I was a big fan of the show Lost. I never watched that. I was warned about it, so I stayed away from it. I heard that people said if you like getting answers, then don't watch it. So I didn't watch it. Okay, so let's do another example. I think he speaks Korean well. I think, let's not do Billy. Let's do, I think that Jimin, okay, Jimin speaks, actually, let's not do Korean. Let's do speaks English well. Okay, how would you say this sentence? I'll give you a few words because you'll need to know this. For English, you'll say 영어. That's the word for English, 영어. And then to speak well, they say 잘, literally well, 하다, to do. Some people might say 말하다, like the literal word for to speak, but that's unnecessary. It sounds a bit repetitive because if you, in case you're wondering, so this is more of a note for an advanced learners, but if you think, oh, 영어, 말하다, English, 말하다 means to speak, 말하다, maybe you've seen this word before. 말 means words and 하다 means to do, so to speak literally. But the word 영어 itself means English, words. And then this 말 is a Korean word that also means words. So it's kind of like to speak English speaking. And it sounds a bit repetitive. So they typically don't use 말하다 whenever they say to speak a language. They just say language 하다. So if you speak the language well, you can say 잘하다. But you can also just use 하다 to speak it in general. Like I speak Korean. 한국어 해요. With 하다, you don't have to do anything specific with that. Just 하다 can also mean speaking the language. So I think Jimin speaks English well. How would you say this with this form? Let's see. Very first person is Rachel T. Let's check it out. 저는 지민이 영어를 잘 한다. Oh, you're missing one. You're missing this. Remember this. Other than that, you're correct. 저는 지민이 영어 잘 한다고 생각해요. Nice, Ben Song. 저는 지민이 영어를 잘한다고 생각해요. Carmenas, nice. 지민이 영어를 잘한다고 생각해요. 지민이 영어를 잘한다고 생각해요. Hey, you guys are pretty good at it. 저는 지민이 영어를 잘한다. Abby, you're also missing this. But you might have seen this. I might have said that right after you typed it. yeah, I see. You're like, yeah. But other than that, you guys are good. I think you guys are getting this though. These forms, if you're confused about how to say to think in Korean, don't stress about the grammar form because this grammar form itself is so straightforward and simple. It's just 고, 생각하다. Or for our previous form, 것, 같아요, or 같다, or whatever, however you want to conjugate it. You just need to know the plain form and how to conjugate adjectives. So again, I do have videos on how to conjugate the plain form. I have a video on how to conjugate adjectives. My book series has full lessons, like really detailed lessons on how to conjugate both and how to use them and all of these forms. They're really, though, very straightforward, as long as you know plain form. And this isn't like you have to learn plain form just to use this form. Plain form is normally a regular form used in Korean. And when you learn it, there's lots of grammar forms you can do with it. For example, I'm not doing a lesson today about quoting, but I do want to make sure you guys understand how important plain form can be. So for this form for to think, it's plain form with 고 and then 생각하다, right? I think that. Well, if you want to make a quote, like I say that, I said that, I will say that, like, speaking, or he said that, it's the exact same thing with 말하다, to speak. So now if you use this exact same form, you've just spent all this time learning for how to say to think, now you can also to say things. You can also say things. So I said that Jimin speaks English well. 저는 지민이 영어를 잘한다고. Up there, it's the exact same. Now, all you do is change the verb. Instead of 생각해요, I think, you can just say 말했어요. I said that Jimin speaks English well. Exact same construction, same rules, same exceptions. 이다 becomes 이라고. Same thing here, exact same thing. But now you can say 말하다. I said something. In addition, you can do any sort of quoting. And I know this is not a lesson about quoting. I just want this so that you can realize how important this basic grammar form can be and how important it is to know the plain form, not just for this form, but just in general. Now you can ask something. So 저는 지민이 영어를 actually I won't go into this because this you actually might use a different form for asking. Let's think of another thing. 다음 거. Okay, I'm not going to go into any form because I actually would have to teach you another form to use it with asking that I don't want to go into today. But yeah, it's this form, plain form, is actually used in a lot of different grammar forms. So if you learn it, it's like one of those things where you learn it once, just like adjectives. You learn them once and you can apply them in a lot of situations. So when you see a new grammar form, you're like, oh, it's this complicated grammar form. I have to do this and this and this and this. Well, no, actually, all it is the plain form that you've already learned. And same with the 같아요. That all it is adjectives. You don't have to relearn a single thing. And then in the future, you'll see other grammar forms that you'll learn. And no matter how the book presents it, you'll notice, you're like, wait a minute, this is just an adjective form. Oh wait, this is just a plain form. Oh wait, this is just the yo form without the yo. And easily learn it. Then you don't have to learn like how to conjugate all these crazy rules for everything. All you have to do is remember, oh, it's plain form plus 고, and then this. Or, oh, that's an adjective plus this. That's it. It's really simple. So you can get really advanced Korean. And all Korean is like this. So one thing that you'll start to learn as you get more advanced is you'll see some form like, I know I'm going off topic, but I drank a bunch of caffeine right after the power outage because I wanted to have energy to keep going. So now I just want to talk. So okay, you might see this like complicated grammar form, like something 모양이다, it's this really vague, uncommonly used grammar form that you find in a book once. You're like, hey Billy, what's this form mean? I've never seen it before. Like, oh, I conjugate it with adding like a lir or after the verb stem and blah blah blah. You'll be able to see something like this and recognize, oh, I see, 모양이다. Okay, so that means it's used with 이다, like regular. So I can conjugate it as 이에요. You'll see this form. You're like, wait, I've seen this form. This is the same future tense form that they use for like, 할 거예요. This regular 할 거예요. It's this form. So if I just conjugate the verb the same way as this and stick it on here, that's how I use it. And then all you have to do is learn what this form means. So it's extremely easy to learn new grammar forms when you are confident in the basics, because really, advanced Korean grammar, you might be afraid of it. Like advanced Korean grammar has all these crazy rules. It doesn't. It has the exact same beginner level. There are no advanced grammar forms that have advanced grammar rules to using them. Okay? If that helps make things seem a little bit easier. Even really complicated advanced grammar, like 가보다, 가쉽다. You're like, there's all these really obscure grammar forms that you might think, oh, I've never seen that. Well, how do I even use that? How do I conjugate it? All of these are just combinations of very basic beginner level, all beginner level grammar stuck together. It's nothing fancy. So all you have to do is remember, oh, it's that form with this. Okay, that's how I conjugate it. Then the only thing you have to learn is, how do you, like what it is. So, oh, I have to remember to use this verb with it. And then what does it mean? When can I use it? That's it. You don't have to learn any fancy new rules. So all of these grammar forms that you're learning right now that have so many complicated rules that you're getting all confused, you only have to do this once. This is all considered basic Korean grammar. Once you've learned these basic rules like plain form or conjugating adjectives or making nominalized verbs, nominalization that we learned before, the yo form, all of these forms, you only have to learn them once, because then you can use these forms to make very advanced Korean grammar, very complicated sentences. They're just all made up of simple basic grammar. But when you learn them for the first time, I know it can be overwhelming, because I thought every single grammar form had these special rules. And I didn't know, when I was learning Korean, I didn't know that this was plain form. I thought this was some whole new thing. I had to get used to using verbs with this structure. And I didn't know. And then later, when I came to start my YouTube channel and I made a lesson about plain form, then I realized like, oh, this is the same form they use for this and this and this. And then it all kind of clicked. But I could have saved so much time if I knew that in the beginning. So pay attention to repeating patterns in Korean, because even advanced Korean grammar is just basic Korean grammar stacked on top of each other. It's not like English, where you learn some complicated grammar and it has complicated rules to using it. Korean is all basic grammar stacked on top of each other to make more complicated grammar. It's just a different way that the language works. Just reading the chat for a bit. Just like math. Too bad I never, I don't know if I'd say math. Math, you get a lot of complicated stuff. And, but yeah, so it's not quite like English. You don't have to think, oh, when I learn grammar, advanced grammar, it's going to be that much harder. And no, it's not. Actually, advanced grammar is not harder than beginning grammar at all. It's only harder if you've never learned the beginning concepts first. So once you learn the beginning concepts, then you can take those beginning concepts and stack them a little bit, and now you got intermediate grammar. Stack them a little more, and now you have advanced grammar. But I can take any Korean advanced grammar form, and I can just break it up and show you how it's basic Korean grammar. Basic forms like plain form or adjectives combined with a word or two in the middle. So that's pretty much all it is. So I've talked about now how to say to think with the two most common forms, but these are different. So how are these forms different? Well, okay, let's see. I'm just making sure I'm doing everything. I'm not skipping anything. Okay. One thing I wanted to say is for both this form and this form, there's something that I should mention about when you say I don't think. Or, you don't think. So if you're saying I don't think, in English, we typically say I don't think that he is an American. I don't think he speaks English well, right? We say I don't think. Korean, it's reversed. You can say, okay, in English, you can say, I don't think he's American. Or you can say, I think he's not an American, right? You can say both of these. I don't think that he is, or I think that he isn't. You can make think negative, or you can say what it is that you think, make that negative, right? But typically in English, if we want to say that we don't think a certain way, we usually just say, I don't think, right? So the problem comes then when people are speaking in Korean and they'll say something, for example, 빌리가 something, 미국 사람. Let's say you don't think Billy is an American, okay? 빌리가 미국 사람. So now you're trying to translate in English. 인 것. So he's an American. And then you want to say 같지 않아요. Right? So you're gonna make this a negative sentence, right? I don't think Billy is an American. And grammatically, you're okay. Your sentence will make sense. And a Korean will say, oh, you don't? Well, why don't you think he's an American? You might think, oh, it's all good. But in Korean, that's not typically how they do it. Koreans typically only say they do think a certain way. They don't typically say they don't think a certain way. Like in English, it's flipped. Whereas we typically will say, I don't think that something is a positive, or someone does something, or someone likes something, like positive sentences. In Korean, it's the reverse. They typically say, I think something is a negative. So instead of saying 미국 사람인 것 같아요, my voice is like cracking. 인 것 같아요. I'll write this down here. They would say 미국 사람 아닌, using the descriptive verb 아니다, to not be. So what Koreans would typically say is, I do think that something is not, or someone does not like something, or someone is not something, or Jimin does not speak English well. That's how they would typically express that. And the same goes for 생각하다. For any sort of thought or opinion, Koreans will typically say a positive emotion. When I mean positive, I don't mean bent like good. I mean not negative. So a non-negative sentence, they'll usually make a non-negative sentence for thinking. So 같아요 or 생각해요, and then whatever they think it isn't, they'll make it as an isn't. So instead of saying 아닌 것 같아요, if you wanted to do with 생각하다, you can do 아니라고 생각해요. And this is going to be more common than saying 이라고 생각하지 않아요. Although you can still say that too, as I mentioned. It's just less common than saying I do think. So Koreans will say I do think instead of I don't think. So that's just something to keep in mind. That's typically how they do it. Whereas you won't be wrong. You'll be perfectly fine. And there are situations when you will want to say 이라고 생각하지 않아요, right? To flip it, to say, I don't think that he's an American. But the only times that you do that are when you want to emphasize. So, if you wanted to emphasize, like, I really do not think a certain way, then you can do that. Then you can say, 미국 사람인 것 같지 않아요. Or 미국 사람이라고 생각하지 않아요. You can reverse it if you want to emphasize, I do not think a certain way. But that's emphasizing your thought. That's saying, hey, wait, my thought is not that. That's not what I think. Typically, though, they don't need to do that. They'll just say, oh, I think he's not. Like, my direct thought is he's not. So does that kind of make sense? So you're fine using it the other way. You don't have to worry about making a mistake. But typically, Koreans don't do it that way. How many of those shirts do you have? Right now, I have 4. I'll try to get some more, though. I have to get more undershirts, though, because this one isn't my regular undershirt. This is just a white shirt. But I have some actual undershirts that I specifically always wear for filming. And I only have 3 of those, so I have to do the laundry pretty frequently. Okay, so that was just something that I also noticed when I was learning. So another thing is that, let's see. Oh, yeah. Okay, so we've only really talked about present tense for both of these forms. So we have called 갔다, present tense. We've only really talked about present tense. We haven't talked about past tense and future tense, although I put past tense and future tense in this, so all of Patreons, you can check this out after the stream. But I've only talked about present tense before. That's because both of these forms in present tense have the same meaning and are used, you're fine to use either one. If you're going to use past tense, for example, specifically if you want to make this verb, like I thought, or future tense, I will think, right? If you want to say I will think that, or I didn't, past tense, right? I will not, I did or I didn't. Something with past or future tense, do not use this form. Do not make this into the past tense. 같았어요. You're not going to be wrong. 같을 거예요 for future tense, right? 같을 거예요. Sorry, I know it's writing kind of weird. Do not make these into the future tense or the past tense. You won't be wrong. It'll sound awkward though. Typically, 같다, to think, I think something is only used in the present tense. 같아, 같아요, 같습니다, 같은데, for regular present tense forms, like I currently, right now, think a certain way. If you want to say that you previously thought, and this is most common with past tense, you typically don't say I will think anyway. So most commonly with the past tense, use 생각하다. If you say, I thought something, it's much more common to say something 생각했어요 instead of saying something 같았어요. Like I said, you won't be wrong. It's just less common to use these in the past tense, especially the future tense. Probably never you'd use this. So make that as a note that if you're talking about something that you previously thought, don't use this form. There are other forms you can use. There's this form. There's if you're familiar with, there's another form which I'm not covering today. 줄 알다 is another form that can translate to think, but it doesn't really mean to think, but it can also translate as that too. If you're familiar with this form, this is another one you could use. But yeah, use 생각하다 for past tense or future tense. One more difference is that, the other difference that I mentioned before, that 생각하다 is your direct thought. So you're telling someone, 제 생각에는, this is just an expression in Korean. Just a general expression that you can say in Korean. 제 생각에는, or if you're speaking casually to a friend, 내 생각에는, this is only casually, so be careful with that. 제 생각에는 literally means in my thoughts. So translating naturally, you can say in my opinion. So in my opinion, and then you can say whatever it is that you think. Then you can say, 빌리가 한국 사람이 아닌 것 같아요. I don't think Billy's a Korean. Or 미국 사람이라고 생각해요. Whatever you want to say. I think that he's an American. I think he's not an American. You can start your sentence with this too. 제 생각에는. Because 생각, like I said, is actually the literal word for a thought. It's your actual thoughts. So this literally means in my thoughts, in my head right now, this is what I'm thinking. And then you can finish your sentence with whatever it is you're thinking. You can make it a I think sentence, or you can just make it a statement. Like, 빌리가 한국 사람이에요. 빌리가 미국 사람이에요. 지민이가 영어를 잘해요. You can just straight up say, Jimin speaks English well. After you've said this thought, because now you're saying, in my thoughts, Jimin speaks English well. And that's fine to say too, and you haven't used these forms at all. This is just another alternative. If you really want to say, I think, and you can't remember this grammar, and you don't want to deal with it, this is kind of like a cop-out. You can just do this. Just say, 제 생각에는, and then say whatever you wanted to say, and they'll understand you're talking about your opinion. And that works fine too. So yeah, 생각 is a literal word for thinking, whereas 같다 is an indirect way of saying I think, because it literally means it seems like, or it seems like I think he does, like that. It's more of less of a direct way of saying it, but it also does mean I think. So use either one. If you have to pick one of these forms to focus on this one. I think this one's more commonly used in regular conversation. It's more useful for talking with your friends. And yeah, it's more commonly used overall. I'm just going to look at the chat for just a minute because I haven't been looking at the chat enough. Talk to Me in Korean website. Yeah, the Talk to Me in Korean website, they were rebuilding it. They relaunched a new version. Okay. So, I know I've only briefly covered both of these forms, but that's why I have a quiz for today. So, and I've left plenty of time for the quiz. So I'm going to go over some of these quiz questions with you, and I'd like you guys to also participate in this. So again, there's much more information I unfortunately don't have time to go over. I have examples for how to use 갔다 in the past tense with descriptive verbs and example sentences with that, because it's not, some people don't know the conjugation for that. But the basic rules are exactly the same as conjugating an adjective, or for the other form, conjugating the plain form. So how would you say, first we're going to be using this form called 같다. I think it's very hot. This is sentence number one. Sentence number two is a bonus question. In order to do this, you have to already know how to conjugate adjectives. And I didn't cover this in today's live stream because today's live stream isn't about conjugating adjectives. That would be a whole nother lesson. Today's live stream is just about this form. So if you don't know this, don't beat yourself up because I didn't even talk about it today. You would have to know this from my previous adjectives Learn Korean video that I did. Again, hot is 덥다, as in the weather is hot. If you're saying something is hot to the touch, that's 뜨겁다. That's a different verb. So 덥다 is to be hot. So how would you say, I think it's very, and very you can say 아주, or whatever form you want to use. 진짜, 정말 is fine too. That's like really. So I think it's very hot. And then a bonus is, I think it was very hot. Now, you don't have to try this. If you don't know what it is, don't try it because you'll be wrong. I'm sorry, you'll be wrong because it actually is a different form than you might think to say this. So this is with this form called 같다. Try to say sentence one, and if you're feeling very adventurous and you've seen this and you know how to do this, try two. 더울 것 같아요. Javelin, that's future tense, but we're just doing it is right now. It is, present tense. 너무 더운 것 같아요. Nice, Ben Song, perfect. I think it's so hot. 너무 더운 것 같아요. Nice. 저는 너무 더운 것 같아요. 저는 날씨가 더운 것 같아요. Nice. Are you guys just looking at his and copying, or did you write it? Because you guys are all great. 저는 더운 것 같아요. No, you're right. Something's not missing. Well, yeah, I guess you're missing very, but 아주 더운 것 같아요. 더운 것 같아요. 더웠던 것 같아요. Skit 42. Skit 42, got it. I'm going to write your name on the board because you got it. You got it first. Skit 42, you got the right answer. To past tense descriptive verbs as an adjective. That's a mouthful. So conjugating a descriptive verb into the past tense as an adjective is 더웠던. 더웠던. So it would be 더웠던 것 같아요. And that you have to learn separately. It's not too complicated because it's really, really commonly used, but it is a different form you'd have to learn. And my paper, this outline covers that, and my lesson on adjectives covers that. So, yeah. Nice job. 저는 날씨가 진짜 더운 것 같아요. 진짜 더울. When K, you're using the future tense, which grammatically is fine, but that means it will be really hot. If you say 진짜 더울 것 같아요, that means it will be really hot. 저 날씨가 아주 더운 것 같아요. 날씨가 더운 것 같아요. 저는 진짜 Andreas, you're missing something. I think you're missing 더운. You forgot to type the 니은 there. 아주 더운 것 같아요. Tessa, nice. Skip 42. I'm sorry. Sorry, skip 42. You're right. I'm just so used to using this because I got to get new markers. Like I said, when I go to, tonight, I'll go down to the office store and get some new markers and stuff like that. I don't understand the tone form. That's fine. You'd have to learn that separately, and I didn't teach that today because that's a different lesson, how to conjugate adjectives, that I wouldn't have enough time to do. 진짜 더운 것 같아요. Andreas, nice. Okay, so very good. Let's do the next one. All right. Do you think it's funny? To be funny, as in humorous, you can use 웃기다. Now, 웃기다 is a descriptive verb again. So try to do this one. Do you think it's funny? And the next one, in another sentence. This one is not a bonus. I'd just like you to do this too. I think the movie is boring. Boring, you can say with 지루하다. 지루하다 also is a descriptive verb. So these two sentences, do you think it's funny? And I think the movie is boring. Rissy 35. Oof. 당신, not 당신. You don't need to use 당신. 당신 is not used in Korean speech. At least not for that purpose. But other than that, the rest of the sentence, 웃긴 것 같아요 is right, Javelin. 재밌을 것 같아요. You can use 재밌다, but 재밌다 is more of an entertaining, not funny. Funny would be like humorous, which is 웃기다. 재밌다 would be more like enjoyable, like entertaining kind of funny. But, and when K, you're using the future form, which is not what we're doing. That means will be. Remember, it's not the If you see the that's from future tense. That's not this present tense. So that's not the correct way to conjugate it. Grammatically, you could say that, but it has a different meaning. That means it will be funny, which doesn't mean it is funny. 웃긴 것 같아요. 저는 영화가 지루한 것 같아요. Nice. Dr. Nutria. 웃긴 것 같아요. 이게 웃긴 것 같아. Andreas, nice. 이게? This dog? I think you have a typo there. 이게 means this dog. So I think you meant 이게. This thing. Instead of this dog. Maybe it is a funny dog. Could be that movie, You Lucky Dog, the Disney Channel movie. Maybe you're talking about that. In which case, okay. 영화가 지루한 것 같아요. Nice, Ben Song. 웃기는 Sophia Louis Rodriguez. This is a descriptive verb, so it does not conjugate with 는. You probably missed the first part of the live stream, and that's my fault because the power here went out. But it would be 웃긴, not 는. 웃기는. 는 would be for an adjective. I'm sorry, an action verb would use 는, but descriptive verb doesn't use 는 for becoming an adjective. Luciana, nice. Tessa, nice. 재미없는 것 같아요. Max Star, that's fine to say too. That means not entertaining. Also could translate as boring. 재미없는 것 같아요. Nice. 웃긴 것 같아요. Abby, nice. Javelin 뭐예요? 영화를, not object marker. Javelin, I'd recommend watching my video, my live stream I did a few weeks ago about subject marker, topic marker, and object marker, where I explained the difference, because that's not how it's used. The object marker is used for what an action verb is doing something to, but to be bored is not an action verb and it doesn't do anything to something. So you cannot use the object marker with it. If you switch the object marker in your sentence, Javelin, to use the subject marker, 영화가, then you'd be fine. You'd be perfect. Dangerous. The 웃긴 is correct. 웃기는 would be incorrect. 웃기는 would have a different meaning completely. There is actually a verb, 웃기다, that's an action verb, but that's not what this is being used as. That has a different meaning too. 이게 웃긴 것 같아. Do you find this crab funny? Yeah, nice. Yeah, it's okay, Javelin. Probably particles are the number one thing. No, it's not true. One of the top 3 things I'll say that people mess up. The number one probably being politeness levels. So don't worry about it. I messed those up for far too long too. 심심하다 would be to be bored. Like you feel bored is 심심하다. 저는 영어가 지루한 것 같습니다. Andreas, you already made this sentence. But yes, you can say that too. Okay, nice. Okay, a couple more. I think he is eating cheese. Some people have commented before, like, oh, Billy, you should write the correct answer on the board when you do these questions. But there is no correct answer. There are lots of ways you could say it. So in this situation, I would recommend reading the chat, and I'll tell you if there's a mistake. But otherwise, if you see people's sentences in the chat and I don't say anything about it, but I'm reading the other ones, you can assume that it's correct. There's lots of different ways you can say it. But I don't want to say this is the right answer, because I don't want you to learn Korean by learning phrases. I want you to learn Korean by doing it yourself, learning the grammar, and realizing that there may be dozens of ways to say the exact same thing and they're all correct. So, and there were a lot of different ways you guys wrote it. Some people wrote 지루하다, which, used the 지루하다 verb that I gave. Other people wrote 재미없는, which is also perfectly fine too, and does mean boring. So I didn't want to say that answer is wrong. In fact, that answer could be even better. 치즈를 먹는 것 같아요. Yeah, you can use 치즈를 먹는 것 같아요. So, of course, cheese is 치즈. Eating is 먹다, to eat. As far as pronouns in Korean, he, she, they're not necessary. Pronouns, you can leave them off. It can be understood by context. But if you did want to add a pronoun, you can add the person's name. So you can make up someone's name here. If you ever need a pronoun, you can just use mine. Billy. Feel free to use that if you ever need to use a pronoun. But it's not necessary in Korean to say pronouns because it's assumed that's what you're talking about. Unless you need to specify, like, Billy ate the cheese, like that. Then you can use Billy. Otherwise, if someone says, like, oh, 빌리가 뭐예요? 빌리는 뭐예요? What's Billy doing? You could just say, you don't have to say Billy is, because they know you're going to say what Billy's doing. So you don't have to always use pronouns in Korean. 그 사람이, nice, that person, 치즈를 먹고 있는 것 같아요. Nice, Dr. Nutriev. That's perfect too. If you want, oh no. If you want, you can also use this as 먹고 있다. To be currently doing something, which would become 먹고 있는. 먹고 있는 것 같아요. He is, right now, eating cheese. Or 먹는 것 같아요 is fine too. He eats cheese. He is eating cheese. 이 사람은 치즈를 먹는 것 같아요. Nice, Rachel T. 그 사람이 치즈를 먹고 있는 것 같아요. Yeah, Ben Song, perfect. 내 생각에 Win K. Do not use 내 with the yo form. 내 is only for casual Korean. So you should say 제 생각에는, like that. Other than that, sentence is great. 그가, Luciana, you can say 그 in a textbook example sentence, and that's about it. But you don't actually want to use the words 그 or 그녀. You might have found these words on a Korean, K-pop blog, how to learn Korean in 10 easy steps. One of those clickbait articles might say, oh, ku means he and kunyo means she. They don't. Only in textbooks, like example sentences when you don't have a clue who you're talking about. Say you're just making up someone just to translate the word he directly into Korean. These words are not used. They're not used in songs. They're not used in writing. They're only used in textbook example sentences, and even that rarely. So do not use ku and kunyo to mean he or she. They should have never been taught in the first place. But sometimes blogs just do that to give people an easy way to learn he and she, but they're actually hurting the reader because they're not how Koreans would ever say that. And they actually sound rude to use those words about people. So they're very bad. Just cross or write them down and then write, do not use these. Not the cheese, Billy. 저는 빌리가 치즈를 먹는 것 같아요. Nice. 치즈를 먹는 것 같아요. 김정은은 치즈를 먹는 것 같아요. I think he ate all of the cheese. Yeah. And Dr. Nutri, you have to be careful about that too. But I don't think people would think you're saying that. But it could sound like that if your intonation is wrong. 그 사람 is kind of rude as well. 그 사람 is okay for casual speech. Like if you're talking about someone like, that guy, that guy. It kind of sounds like you're talking down about them. So you're saying, oh, that guy over there, he did this. Then it's okay to say 그 사람, literally that person. As well as 이 사람, this person, like this guy, man, this guy, I tell you. But I wouldn't recommend using them normally. If you really have to say he or she, 그분. However, 그분 is a polite, it's actually an honorific word for that. 분 means 사람. So 그분 has the exact same literal meaning as 그 사람, that person. But this is more of an honorific, it's a formal word. So you can fall back on this one. It just might make your sentence sound too formal if you didn't mean for it to be. So basically though, the main way to say he or she is to just say the person's name. Their title or their name. You know, their name with she attached to it, or their title. Okay. 친구가 치즈를 먹고 있는 것 같아요. Nice. My friend is eating cheese. Perfect. Okay. Let's go on to the next sentence. This thing just made this giant mark across my board. Okay. I already did. I don't think he's Korean. So let's do, I think he works. Oops, works at home. I think he works at home. And since in this lesson I'm not teaching you about how to say at home, I'll just tell you how to say that. 집, house, 에서. At home. And then for work, 일하다. 일하다 means to work. So for he, it can also be, you can also replace this with a person's name or whatever you want, just like before. Or just don't say it at all. 집에서 일하다 means to work at home. So how would you say, I think he works at home? Notice that in this case, work is a action verb. I keep getting adjective and action verb confused when I'm saying it. This is an action verb. So the conjugation is different from a descriptive verb. So how would you say that? 집에서 일한 것 같아요. You deleted it, Rachel. But what you wrote actually, 일한 것 같아요, is not grammatically wrong. What you did actually, and this outline shows it, but what you did actually was wrote the past tense. So if you say 일한, the past tense, this actually means I think he worked at home. And it's perfect sentence. It just doesn't mean he is working. So I wish I had more time to go over those. If you guys wanted, if all of you guys wanted, I could do another hour extra on top of today's live stream, and I could cover the different conjugation rules for these forms for past tense and future tense. I'd be okay with that, but it would take a lot of extra time to cover it. 집에서 일하는 것 같아요. Nice. 집에서 일하는 것 같아요. Nice. 그분 열심히, Dr. Nutria, 열심히 is an adverb. So where does an adverb have to go in a Korean sentence? It has to go directly before a verb. Or, well, directly before a verb phrase. So in this case, 일하다. So you want to use 열심히 일하다. The rest of the sentence looks fine. 집에서 일하는 것 같아요. 빌리가 집에서 일하는 것 같아요. Nice. 빌리가 집에서 일하는 것 같아요. I'm not doing anything else. Let's do this. Oh, I'm okay because I told you I crammed a lot of caffeine so that I had energy, because around like 4 o'clock I'll start to feel a little tired, but I drank a bunch of caffeine, so I should be good. Rowan sees. It's okay, Rowan sees. I understand. The live stream had the hiccup because of the power outage this time. So if anyone has to leave, I totally understand. 저는 그분이, Carminas, 그분이, for the subject marker is E after a consonant. 집에서 일하고 있는 것 같아요. Perfect. None your business. I have a video about how to learn the alphabet. And if someone could link that, then yeah, you can check out my channel. I have a video about how to learn the whole alphabet. I like to learn the conjugations. I have nothing else to do. 그분 집에서 일하는 것 같으세요? Tessa, you do not use 같으세요 because you're talking about yourself. You're talking about yourself. You would not use 같으세요. However, 같으세요 is typically not used. They just use 같아요. If you wanted to make an honorific sentence, you would make whatever it is before the 같다 form honorific. So you could say 일 하시는 것 같아요. If you really wanted to be honorific, you could say, I think that he works at home, like that. 하시는 for honorific. But you wouldn't make this part honorific because you're talking about yourself. That's your thoughts. So you wouldn't do it like that. Do you have a video for formal language together? Yes, I have 3 videos that cover formal. 1 video that covers how to speak polite Korean, which covers the nida form. And then 2 videos about honorific Korean and humble Korean, honorific verbs and honorific grammar. Yes, you can pretty much ignore the he, she designation. Yeah, Korean doesn't really care about that. Yeah, I also have a live stream about politeness levels that you can see. That was a 2-hour stream. I think it went pretty well, where I talked about all the different politeness levels, how to distinguish them, when to use them. Okay. That's all for 갔다. Now let's go on to 생각하다. So now we're going to do the 고 생각하다 form with the plain form. I'm just going to write PF here. Plain form. 고 생각하다. So I think, how would I say? I think, I'm not going to tell you any words here this time. I think that, or I think I want to know. Actually, I will tell you. For want to know, 알고 싶다. And I'll mention about this 싶다 a bit. So I think that I want to know, or just I think I want to know. You know, Korean doesn't really translate that when you're talking about I think or I think that. In English, it's not necessary to say that anyway. When you're talking about your thought, you can say I think he is Korean. I think that he is Korean. It's the exact same meaning in English. In Korean, you don't need to translate that word differently. So it's just the same thing. I think I want to know. How would you say this? 저는 알고 싶다고 생각합니다. Andreas, nice. First person and you got it right. 저는 알고 싶다고 생각해요. 저는 알고 싶다고 생각해요. 저는 알고 싶다고. Rachel T, you have a typo in the your sentence because you're missing 다. Remember the plain form. Every version of the plain form ends with 다. And in this case, 싶다 itself. So this is actually the reason I wanted to do this is because I wanted to point out that the descriptive verb 싶다 itself is a descriptive verb. So What is the plain form of a descriptive verb? Well, it is the descriptive verb. So 싶다고 생각하다. Just like that. So you don't have to do anything to it. It's just 알고 싶다고 and then 생각, however you want to conjugate it. 생각해요, 생각했어요, 생각합니다. Anything like that. 저는 알고 싶다고 생각합니다. 저는 알고 싶다고 생각해요. You have a typo for Javelin Cabueyo. You wrote also, but it should be algo. The rest of it's fine though. I think it's just a typo because they're kind of close to each other on the keyboard. 저는 알고 싶다고 생각해요. No Koreans ever say like this. That's fine. It's just It's just for grammar. No. Yeah. You wouldn't need to say it necessarily like this because we already talked about that. That the 생각하다 form is less. Yes, the 생각하다 form is less common than the 갖다 form. 저는 알고 싶다고 생각해요. Yeah, you got it right, Abby. Sorry for the off-topic question. I always get confused about pronunciation. You have some tips for that? Yeah, I have 2 videos on my channel. If you search pronunciation on my channel, you'll find that there are at least 2 videos about pronouncing Korean. So tips for how to pronounce Korean. Okay. Cynthia Normal. Again, Cynthia Normal, you're also missing the 싶다, 싶다고. Is it common to use multiple 고 grammar points in a sentence? That's fine to do. Okay, next thing. I think it's not good. So in order to do this, you'll need to know 2 things. One is you'll need to know a negative form, and then you'll need to put that negative verb, negative, in this case, descriptive verb for good, to be good, which is 안 좋다. Actually, I'll just tell, yeah, okay, it's too late. I already told you. 안 좋다. So 안 좋다 means to not be good, and just 좋다 by itself is to be good. So to not be good, 안 좋다. So I think it's not good. Now remember, we're doing these practices to practice how to use this form. So you could of course say this with the other form, and which would be more common. But for this form, how would you say, I think it's not good? Today it's going to be an extra hour. Now it probably won't be an extra hour, but I'll do a little bit longer because I want to make sure I can go through all of these quiz items. Because I want to make sure we get enough practice with this form. Well, both forms. Tessa S, you wrote 알고 싶다고, but I think you just wrote it twice. Other than that, your sentence is fine. 안 좋다고 생각해요. Dr. Nutria, nice. 나 안 좋다고 생각해. Andreas, nice. 안 좋다고 생각해요. Rachel T, nice. 나쁘다. Andreas, 나쁘다 means bad. So if you wanted to say, I think it's bad, you could say 나쁘다고 생각해요. You could say 나쁘다 with that. But that doesn't mean it's not good. You're saying, I just think it's bad, which you wouldn't say. Well, at least not for this example. Saying something's not good is different than saying it's bad, necessarily. Kim Thomas, you have a typo for an, should be an like this. But sometimes Koreans will write an as a common typo. So you might see that too, but it's supposed to be an for negatives. But it's a pretty common typo. 안 좋다고 생각해요. Giovanna Kurt. I think you're trying to say thing is not good. No, I think you're trying to say thing is not good. This is a descriptive verb for Giovanna, who wrote something with the object marker. Since this is a descriptive verb, to be good is not an action verb. It's not doing anything. You're not gooding something. It cannot have an object. So you cannot use the object marker with the descriptive verb, in this case, to be good. You can only use an object marker with an action verb, like if it's to like something or to hit something or to hug something, that can have an object because you're doing something to someone or something. But in this case, you're not doing good, you're not gooding to something. So you cannot use the object marker. You have to use the subject marker or the topic marker. So you could say like 그것, that thing, 그것이, or 그것은, whatever you want to say, but not 그것을 with a descriptive verb because you're not doing anything to that object. Now I can feel my hands getting like jittery from the caffeine. Yeah, as Kim Thomas wrote, 그것이 안 좋다고 생각해요. You can say that. Yeah, Quinn Vanderbilt. Yes, that's right. Yeah, it's important to learn how to use this form because it is used all the time. But some situations, like I said before, you'll more commonly use the 같다 form for just saying general things that you think. So, and using 생각하다 is more of a direct way, like I think this, which if you're trying to express your opinion, you can use either. But if you're just trying to make an observation, like, oh, I think something, blah, 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 then use the 같다 form. As I've previously explained, I'm just saying it again, because that one's more of an indirect way of just saying what you think, whereas this one's directly saying, I think it's not good, like that. Whereas you're instead of 같다, 안 좋은 것 같아, 안 좋은 것 같아요, which is just saying, I don't think it's very good. It's not directly saying, my opinion is it's not good. So this is a more direct way with this form. Okay. I think I will go to school. Okay, no, we'll do that one. I think spiders are scary. This one is totally fine to use the 생각하다 form because you're actually just giving your thought. You're saying, my opinion is spiders are scary. And to say to be scary, they use 무섭다, which means to be scary or to be afraid of something. And spiders are 거미. 거미. 거미 is spiders or spider, either one. 무섭다 is scary. So how would you say, I think spiders are scary? Casual, natural language may not always be 100 grammatically. Yeah, that's right, Quinn. Yeah, sometimes you have grammar. I think, and everyone has different opinions about this. You might hear some Korean teachers say, you should learn Korean the way that it's actually spoken. Don't worry about grammar books. Just learn it the way it's spoken. And then there's other teachers who say, don't worry about how it's spoken, just learn grammar, and then you can learn that later. And I'm kind of in the middle. I think that you definitely need to learn the grammatical forms, but then you also have to learn how you can break those rules because how Koreans actually speak. But if you only learn how Koreans naturally speak, you'll never understand the actual grammar that goes into it. And as a non-native learner, someone who's learning Korean, that causes a lot of confusion. So like you might say, someone says 같아요 and writes down 같아요, and you would never know why that's wrong. You would just think, oh, it's just that's how they say it sometimes, and I guess it's just that way. And then you might use 같아요, to someone you weren't supposed to use it to. It's a little bit casual. So I think it's important to do both. Learn the correct way, but then after you know the correct way, expose yourself to uses of that grammatical form in real everyday life. And then you can see, oh, I see that's grammatically incorrect, but that's how they do it. Or, oh, I see they're mostly using this form with these verbs and this form with these verbs. And that's okay. But at least you would have a basis, kind of somewhere that you can stand, that you could always at least use that form. Whereas if you only learn from natural Korean conversation, you never have a basis. Like you would never be able to use that form by yourself outside of how you've heard it being used. So I think there needs to be a balance. 거미께서 무서워. Andreas, nice try. But when you use the honorific form with a verb stem that ends with piup, the piup goes away and you get an u. So it would be 무서우시다 if you really wanted to do that. But please don't honorify the spider, because if you honorify the spider, what you're doing is you're the person you're saying that to, you're putting them down. You're saying like the spider is so honorable spider. But I'm just talking regular to you. So it's kind of rude to the person you're talking to. Although I get it, it's funny. But if you were to actually use it to a Korean seriously, like kind of jokingly seriously, they might think you're being rude or being awkward just because it means like, well, this spider is honorable, but I'm not. Kind of, that's how it kind of can seem to them. Especially if you can already speak Korean. The more Korean you know, the more that they'll expect you understand what you're saying. So yeah, don't honorify the spiders. Spiders do not deserve our honor. But it's cute. 거미를 M3G star. Since to be scary is a descriptive verb, you do not use an object marker with it. So try again with the subject marker. 거미가 무섭다고 생각해요. Dr. Nutria, nice. 거미는 무서운 것 같아요. Nice, Eduardo. Although we're using this form, but what you wrote wasn't wrong. It was just the other form that we're not practicing right now. 거미가 무섭다고 생각. Oh, I just realized I used the wrong particle. Okay. 거미가 무섭다고 생각해요. Nice, Tessa. 거미가 무섭다고 생각해요. Nice. 거미가 정말 무섭다고 생각해요. Abby, nice. You had it really scary. 거미가 무섭다고 생각해요. Nice. 거미는 무섭다고 생각해요. That's fine too, yeah. 거미는 is fine too. And I did a live stream a few weeks ago about the difference between the subject marker and the topic marker, as well as the object marker. So you can watch that if you're not sure the difference between 거미가 or 거미는. Both of them are okay. I was trying to say okay and correct. It came out as correct. Both of those are correct, but they're slightly different. So watch that live stream if you want to find out how. 거미가 안 무섭다고 생각해요. Nice. 거미를 좋아해요. Rachel T. Me too. Yeah. 저도요. Me too. I don't think spiders are super scary. I'm afraid of the spiders that could actually hurt me. Like, I don't like black widows because even though they're afraid of people, if they bite you, it hurts. But in general, spiders are pretty friendly and help out. Can I say 거미를 무섭다고 생각하고 있어요? You can say the 하고 있어요 part, but again, 무섭다 is a descriptive verb and cannot take an object. So you cannot use 거미를. You'd have to use 거미가 or 거미는 or something else like that. 거미도, spiders too. 거미를 무서워한다. Yeah, Kim Thomas, you can use that too. I am afraid of spiders. But in that case, 무서워하다 is a action verb form of the descriptive verb, which is a different form that I haven't covered in a live stream yet. Maybe I could do that in the future. Okay, you can omit anything. Yeah. If known in the context. Though I think beginners seeing that in Korean could be kind of confused if they hear that you can omit it. I recommend not omitting it unless you know how to use it first, because then if you hear it, if you're in a situation where you're supposed to use it, then you're going to use the wrong particle if you're not already familiar. So if you're already really comfortable with using topic marker, subject marker, object marker, like you're good at it, you've got it down, you know exactly when you can use and when you can't use each one, then feel free to omit them, especially when you're speaking casually. But if you're not that comfortable with them, always use them, because the one day you do use them and you use it wrong, it will really show the person you're talking to that you're lacking the basics of Korean if you misuse them. So it's better to be safe than to misuse it. But if you're already confident about how to use them, yeah, feel free, remove them anytime you want. They'll understand what you mean. 저는 당신을 사랑해요. I love 당신. Yeah, 당신's not good. Yeah, I always talk about don't say 당신. I'm guilty of omitting for lack of knowledge. Yeah, that's what I think a lot of people do is they say, oh, like this person said I can just omit them. They're optional. So yeah, I'll just omit them. But that's kind of it's not very good, I would say. It's kind of like saying like, most people, their computers never crash. So you don't need a backup for your data, right? Whereas it's true, most people's computers don't crash, but if your computer crashes, then you needed a backup. So it's kind of like that. Like it's true you can omit them, but if you have to use them, you have to know how to use them, or your sentence is going to sound really awkward and it'll sound like you don't know the basics, the very basics of Korean. So use them. Omit them after you've used them correctly. So you can make the sentence in your head and put it in, And then when it comes out of your mouth, if you want, you can just omit it. But at least when you construct your sentence, know what it's supposed to be there. Let's see. It means it's correct. In Asia, instead of ticket, they use a circle to mean that something is correct. Yeah, that's right. Koreans will write circle if something's correct and X if something's incorrect. Whereas in the US and other countries, this means fill in the blank, and this means X. That means this is selected. Like I selected this one. And this means pick something. Like this is an option. So it's kind of different meaning in Korean, whereas this means, like I said, correct. Circle is correct and X is incorrect, like this. Like no. This is a Korean body language for, well, not just Korean, but a lot of other countries do this for no. Japan does it too. I believe China does as well. Okay, I think that spiders are scary. I think spiders are scary when they jump out of nowhere, but I don't think spiders in general are scary. Okay. I think that Billy will go to school. Okay, this is, I don't go to school. But this sentence uses future tense. So you might think, oh, we haven't learned, you didn't teach us future tense in this lesson. It's okay, it's okay. I'll show you right now. Future tense, as we learned in last week's lesson, one of the future tense you can use is this one. If you remember this from last week, if you weren't here from last week, you won't be able to do this one, or if you don't know the future tense. So it's just this form. You use the the verb stem plus ul or lir if it ends in a vowel, ul if it ends in a consonant, and then 것이다, which conjugates to 거예요, 거예요, like we learned before. So 할 거예요, I will do it. 갈 거예요, I will go. So notice though, so I'm going to kind of try to make this sentence on your own, but I'm going to go through it with you because I think future tense is pretty useful for this too. So notice something about this form. How could we use this future tense together with 생각하다? Well, we know we need to get the plain form. So first of all, how would we say how would you say Billy will go to school? 빌리가 학교 to school에 to 갈 거예요. Right? 갈 거예요. 빌리가 학교에, let's make sure it's on the screen. It is. Okay. 빌리가 학교에 갈 거예요. Or 빌리 씨. I'm just using 빌리 because I'm talking about myself. 빌리가 학교에 갈 거예요. Billy will go to school. Well, we want to say, I think that Billy will go to school. So we need to actually get the plain form of this. And what's the plain form of this? Well, 것이다 is the original form. It's actually remember I taught it was 것이다 for to be, 이다 to be. So we have here 이다. What happens when 이다 gets combined with 고 for this form? We get 이라고, right? 이라고. So you could say 것이라고, or you remember I also taught you, it just becomes 거. It just gets written as 거 for here. So we get 이다 becomes 이라고, or after a vowel, in this case it's just 거, we just get 라고. So 것이다 in this form, future tense, can become 거라고. So now we have 빌리가 학교에 갈 거라고 생각해요. At the end. 빌리가 학교에 갈 거라고 생각해요. Now we have the future tense. I think Billy is going to, in the future, will go to school. Let me just check the chat for a bit. 빌리가 학교에 갈 것이라고 is totally fine too, Nutria. Yeah, you can also say 것이라고 is fine too. Though just typically when they're speaking, most often they'll change the 것 to just 거. And I covered this last week on Sunday, that I said most often they just do 거. That's why it becomes 거예요. and not 것이에요. But it's not incorrect. It's just less common. 빌리님께서 학교에 가실 것이라고 벤성, you're really close. 것이라고 생각해요. Because the 이다 with go in a grammar form becomes 이라고. Other than that, nice sentence, nice honorifics. You even have the honorific particle. But you wouldn't really use 님께서, but I'll let that slide. Usually she or whatever you want to say. You know, 빌리 선생님께서, Mr. Billy. 빌리가 학교에 갈 것이다. Oh, yep. Also, Titania, same thing. 이라고. 빌리가 학교에 갈 것이라고 생각해요. 빌리가 학교에 갈 거라고 생각해요. Andreas, nice. 빌리 씨, 것이라고 학교에. Rissy, nope. The structure is, oh, you redacted. Try again. I was watching the first part of the stream and I just noticed you were still streaming. Yeah, I started streaming for 1 hour and then all of the electricity in this building and every other building within a few miles, well, not every building, most buildings within a few miles, like thousands of houses, lost power for like an hour and a half, almost 2 hours. So I took a break. And I started again at 4:30 and now it's almost 6. So I've total done 2.5 hours for this stream. So normally it's a 2-hour stream. Today it's 2 parts, 1 part for an hour and 1 part for an hour and a half. It just happened. I apologize. At least this time the internet works fine. It wasn't the internet. I fixed that now. That was due to the YouTube app has some problems. But now I'm doing it through my desktop and there's no problems. So. 저는 학교에 갈 거이라고. Giovanna Kurt. If you ever have ida after call, after any sort of vowel, it becomes simply 다. That's how it's written. So in this case, it's just 라고, 갈 거라고, not 갈 거이라고. It's just 갈 거라고. That's a normal feature of ida to be, is it's an exception in that it changes whether it comes after a vowel or a consonant. In this case, 거 ends with a vowel, so it just becomes 라고, not 이라고. Universe doesn't want you to clean your board. Yeah, seriously, after last stream was perfect, and then Universe is like, wait a minute, Billy can't have a good stream. He got to cut off the power to his house. Hola, ¿qué onda? It's because I'm watching. I have bad luck. Feel free to blame me. 빌리, Abby. 빌리. Yeah. 빌리가 학교에 갈 거. Same thing. 갈 거라고. 학교에 갈 거라고. That's right. Yes. Okay. So 빌리가 학교에 갈 거라고 생각해요. I think that Billy will go. So again, I haven't covered the future tense and past tense in today's lesson. So if this is your first time, don't worry about that. It's the same as regular plain form. So as you learn plain form, you'll also learn plain form past tense. For example, past tense for plain form is really easy too. You take a regular verb and you make it past tense as you normally would. So in this case, 하다 become 했어요, right? You remove anything that's all or 아 or 요. So you remove the whole ending. And then you attach 다. 했다. So you can say 했다고 생각해요. 빌리가 했다고 생각해요. I think that Billy did it. Or 가다, to go. I think that Billy went. It becomes 갔어요. You get to wherever it has these double 시옷, these are called 시옷. Whenever you have these 쌍시옷, is what they're called, double or twin 시옷. Whenever you get to these, you remove everything else from it. And that's how you get the plain form, and attach 다. So 갔다. 빌리가 갔다고 생각해요. I think that Billy went. He went somewhere. He go in the past tense. So regular past tense is also very simple for this. Did I spell your name wrong? Oh, it's fine. Yeah, it's Billy, not Billy. Yes, if this is at the end by itself, if you don't have this, it just becomes pronounced as kat. Sorry, I wrote that in a weird order. Kat. That's how it's pronounced. What if that's the end of the sentence? Well, it wouldn't be the end of a sentence because there is no ending of a sentence that has that unless someone's trying to be cute and write something with weird spelling. This can't be at the end of a sentence. But if it is at the end of a word or whatever, that's how it's pronounced as kat due to sound change rules. Okay. So I actually went an extra 30 minutes longer than normal because we got cut off before. But there's more that I wanted to cover, but I unfortunately won't have enough time because I don't want to make this into a 3-hour live stream for people who are watching after. But if you have any questions, I can now take a few minutes to accept some of those. So feel free to write if you have any questions in the chat, and I'll try to answer those as long as they're related to the topic. I can't answer things that are unrelated to the topic for time reasons. Super appreciated for every single one. But overall, I'm actually impressed with the live stream today for how you guys have been doing because as I mentioned, I didn't really explain again how to conjugate adjectives or how to conjugate plain form very much. I just briefly covered it. But for the most part, with exception of, some typos, most part, I think you guys have got it, at least for present tense. You guys have seemed to understand how to use these forms. So I was pretty impressed seeing, your sentences mostly seem to match the correct structure. So that's good. Can you go over the nun and un thing? I'm not going to go over it again because I already covered that. More irago examples. Okay. I think he's a good person. So we're going to need to use he's is just, he is. I think he is. So we're going to need ida for here. And then good person. How do you say a good person? Well, you need the adjective form of 좋다 to be good, which just so happens to be 좋은. And then person, 사람. 좋은 사람. So now we have good person, and we need to say, I think he is. So if you want an example with 이라고, we're going to be using the 생각하다 form. So you would say 좋은 사람, 이라고. 이라고 because it ends in a consonant here. 사람 ends in a consonant. And then 생각해요. 좋은 사람이라고 생각해요. I think that he is a good person, or she is a good person, or they are a good person, whatever you want to say. So if you wanted to specify who, you would do that before using the subject marker for, 이 or 가, whoever it is, and then followed by the subject marker. So in this case, you want to say 철수. Everyone loves 철수. 철수 씨가 좋은 사람이라고 생각해요. Like that. Quotations. Yeah, quotations would be a separate stream, but it will use the same form, the same plain form plus go. Exactly the same, just with different words. So there would be one for quoting, and there's 4 different types of quoting forms. There's one for quoting things that you said, things you asked, things you gave a command, like do something, and then a suggestion. There are 4 types of quoting forms, and fortunately, they're all simple, but you have to learn them separately. And how to say the first one for how to quote something that you just said, that one's this exact same form. The other ones are slightly different. Where can we get those PDF? Which PDF? The PDFs for my Learn Korean lessons are all on my website. Those are free. For this PDF, for today's live stream notes and examples of every single tense, these ones are on Patreon for everyone. So those are even for like the $1 tier. You can like join Patreon for $1 and then unsubscribe immediately. I mean, okay, sure. But everyone gets access to those on Patreon. That's just like a bonus for Patreon subscribers. Do I put she at the end? No, you want to leave it. The profession, the title is fine. The title as it is instead of using she. So she itself is a title. And if you don't want to say she, you would use a different title. For example, 선생님, teacher. You can just say something, someone, 선생님, or even just by itself, 선생님, teacher. That's fine to address a person who is a teacher. 좋은 사람이라고 생각해요. Andreas, nice. What's the main difference between 것 같다 and 생각하다? I did that during the live stream, so after this finishes, you can rewatch the differences. But I did that today. Like when it comes to 철수, he is a good person. 철수는, yeah, you could say that. 철수는 좋은 사람이라고 생각해요. That's like 철수. Let's talk about 철수 now, okay? I'm talking about 철수, everyone. Hey, we're talking about 철수. 좋은 사람이라고 생각해요. I think he's a good person. That's fine too. And I did a live stream about the difference between the topic marker and the subject marker. I recommend watching that. I think it should clear up if you're kind of confused about the differences between the subject marker and the topic marker. I think it's a pretty good explanation of those. I mean, I spent 2 hours explaining them, so it should be a good explanation. Didn't know you're still here. Oh, Rowan sees. Would asking in Discord. Yes, if you have questions that aren't related to the topic, check the Discord. I'm there a lot, but if I'm not there, there are other people who can help. There are even some native Koreans there, some advanced speakers there. Why do you have to use the ra? Oh, I explained that. It's because it changes with ida. Ida. They don't say idago. Idago is actually kind of harder to say. Idago. So it changed due to ease of pronunciation. It's easier to say irago than say idago. And typically, this is a feature of all languages, that the most commonly used words in a language, any language, English, Korean, often are the ones that will have exceptions to them. So if a word is used really frequently, it will often have more changes, which makes sense. A word that's used really frequently will go through more changes and more differences between people than words that are less commonly used. So something like aardvark, refrigerator, those ones are mostly untouched. But you have words like to be, like he is, I am, all those are more commonly distorted or have exceptions because they're more commonly used. Ida is one of the most commonly used verbs in Korean. Hada is another one. And all those really commonly used words have exceptions. So ida, go would be harder to say than just irago. It flows off the tongue. And anyway, the way you say lir in Korean is similar kind of to the tongue position you'd say a D in English. So it kind of just flows off your tongue more easily to say idago. And I think over time it just changed due to being easier to pronounce. And same with 아니라고, 아니다, to not be, as I explained too, which becomes 아니라고 for the same reason. But not all examples of 다고. It's only 이다고 and 아니라고. Just those are so common. The reason though 아니다 is not because 아니다 is so common like 이다. It's because 아니다 is actually originally 아니다. So it's actually just 이다 combined with to not be that got rewritten as 아니다, as one word instead of two words. Let's see. Difference between 저는 발리가 좋아, 벨리 좋아. Nor's KSA, you might want to ask that in a Discord because there's several mistakes in there and I wouldn't be able to explain them all right here really quickly. 20 most used verbs and yeah, it's just like that. Korean's the same thing. 저는 빌리가 좋아하는 것 같아요. I think Billy is something. Billy is I like something. 빌리가 좋아하는 것 같아요 is different. That would mean I think Billy likes it. Not I think I like Billy. If you say 빌리가 좋아하는 것 같아요, that means Billy is the subject. So Billy is the subject of the verb to like. So that means I think that Billy likes something, whatever it is that you're talking about. Whereas say 저는 빌리 좋아하는 것 같아요, that means I think I like Billy. Yeah, so as Yoon Kwang-sup wrote in the chat, although he wrote Belly, it's actually Billy, not Belly. My name's not Belly. Go Belly. Go Belly Korean. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's Billy. Yeah, it's just Billy likes something versus I like Billy. Billy goes. Okay. Anyway, so that's the end of the live stream. I actually would like to keep going, but now it's been 2 hours and 40 minutes total. So I feel bad for the people watching this live stream after the fact who are going to be watching this whole thing. If you're watching this live stream or any live stream, please watch it at 1.5 speed because I typically talk slower when I'm doing these live streams, but you can do 1.5 and it'll be fine. Or even if you're paying attention, like if you're really focusing, 2 times is okay too. because I know that I speak slowly and I repeat myself many times just to kind of hammer it in. But you can do 2 times speed and you'll probably be fine. Except when I talk really fast like this, then you're going to be kind of unable to follow along. All right, so everyone, thanks for coming. And that's actually that's actually how I normally speak around my family, and not how I speak on my YouTube channel. So everyone, thanks again for coming in. Thanks also to my sponsors for today. We had Carmenos become a new member as well. Mike Swizzy donation, the Donkey Kong, Anna Bay, Carrie Rich, Wendy Wilson, Daniel Adong Carrie, and Daniel also are donating to the our new eraser fund, which I'm going to get today. Then Louis Howlett, new member, Sam Strongarm as well for donations. Thank you guys again. Thanks for coming. Next week's stream again will be on Sunday, same time, same place, same channel. Take care, guys. I'll see you next time. 그럼 다음에 또 봐. Oops, ow. I'm just kidding. Mechanical keyboard? It's not a mechanical keyboard. It's just a regular keyboard, but it's kind of loud. Yeah, thanks for coming, everyone. Take care. See you guys next week. I'm going to stop the stream now.